Hey everybody, welcome back to Christian Penguin 1990. My name is Matthew, and we're continuing with the creation versus evolutionism videos today. And this one is called The Problem of Time. Now, this one's going to discuss smallly and shortly, like the dating methods and so on. But what this is starting is what we're going to do is we're going to confront each one, starting with the dating methods next video, in full detail and more in depth. So this is basically just an overview of what's about to come in the next following videos. Now, the problem of time. Keep in mind that modern dating techniques really have no direct relation to whether evolution has ever occurred or even can occur. So, in other words, what they're talking about with that is that even though they have these techniques that they say, well, that proves millions of years or billions of years and so on, that does not prove that evolution happened. That's just not what it's saying. That's just saying they think that's how old something is. It doesn't prove evolution happened or could happen. And that's what that's saying. Long ages are not evolution, and long ages cannot produce evolution. Again, that ties in. A lot of people try to put the two together. A long age equals evolution. It doesn't. It is thought that time can somehow produce evolution if there's enough of it. So, and that goes back to what I was just saying, where they think if they get the millions and billions of years, all that equals that evolution could occur. And again, it doesn't, which we'll go in depth as we keep going. Time is really, or excuse me, is merely a lot of past moments just like the present moment. So in other words, you have the past, present, and future. Anything that's in the past, unless you were, let's say something happened 10 years ago, unless you were actually there, you're going to have different accounts of how everything went down with something 10 years ago from people that were actually there. You're going to have this one saying, well, no, this is what happened. You'll have somebody saying, no, this is what happened, and so on. And you'll get different views. But what they're trying to say is that millions and millions of years ago, when nobody was there to document it, they're just speculating and they're assuming that evolution occurred. So, and that's what they're talking about there, where time is just merely time. It doesn't prove, or show that it could occur. Recorded history, as in when man started recording their own history, only goes back several thousand years. Before that time, we have absolutely no verification for any supposed dating method of science. So, in other words, where they're trying to say that man has always known that the Earth was millions or billions of years old, but yet there was no dating methods up till a certain point. I think it was 1959 or so they talked about dating methods, but they're trying to say that man back then knew the Earth was. Well, how could man know? If you go by their logic, where ancient man was dumb, but when it comes to evolution and the age of the Earth, man was smart enough to know the Earth was old. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It contradicts itself. So they try to constantly tell you that ancient man was dumb. They were Neanderthals. They were cavemen. They didn't know what was going on. But yet somehow these same individuals knew that the Earth was millions and millions of years old. It doesn't make any sense. It contradicts itself. So when I told that to somebody one time, they said, "Oh no, we're not talking about the cavemen. We're talking about recent man." Well, recent man would go in time with the Bible. They said, "Well, no." And I said, "Yeah, it would, because man during biblical times, Old Testament on, has recorded its history, which is what recorded history reflects about after the flood and before the flood and so on. It does not reflect your millions and millions of years." And to go that far back, you would have to go into the caveman era, which again, the cavemen, according to y'all, are not smart enough to do it. So, and we just agreed to disagree because we kept going back and forth with different things, which usually does happen majority of the time. Believe it or not, but you'll get people on both sides that'll tell you, no, there's always a victor. I'm here to tell you, no, there's not. A lot of times they just agree to disagree because otherwise they'll just keep going and going forever and they'll never stop. So they hit a point where they just say, okay, we're just all going to agree to disagree and stop it. Okay, aside from the known inherent weaknesses in assumption and methodology, we cannot even verify the dates objectively. Okay, so let me go a little bit further first. There is no actual way to verify beyond a shadow of a doubt the accuracy of a dating method. In fact, many times they give dates that conflict with each other. Now, the reason I put that in there in my notes for this video is constantly I'll see people in comment sections on other channels or in real life where I talk to them. They say, well, they check each other. Well, how does the argon dating method, or excuse me, potassium argon dating method check carbon 14? Because one will give millions of years old, but carbon 14 is not supposed to be good past 50,000 years, according to their stuff. It can't cross check. So carbon 14 is mainly used for the biological systems and organisms, and the potassium argon, the uranium, lead, and all that other dating methods are used for rocks and so on. And even within, you can have a uranium lead date, which will say 10 million years, and you try to check it with the potassium argon date, and that'll give you 10-15 million years. Well, that's not cross-checking because each one gives you different dates. Now you got to say, okay, well, which one's right? You flip a coin and they say that one's right. I mean, that's basically how it would happen that way. Like I said, we'll get more into the problems with the dating methods and other things that can go wrong with them in the next video, because that's all we're covering is the dating methods in that next video. Some people think that the various dating methods can be verified by rock strata fossils. They forget that the geologic column was made up before dating methods were thought of, yet they use the column dates to check the dates from the dating methods. And like I said, this will all be covered next video. But basically, that is true because the more I looked into it, Charles Lyell, with his Principles of Geology and his buddies, are well known for being the ones that they give the credit to for making up the geologic column. And the more I dug into it, the more I noticed that it really was completely made up. Like, he would assign a period, he would assign a index fossil, and he would assign an age to it. No dating method, no proof that's the period that fossil lived in. But yet, now that is jokingly, Kittenhoven calls the Bible for the evolutionists, because everything has to match the column or they can't use it. I'm like, guys, he made the whole thing up. I mean, you gotta go back to when he lived, and you're basing everything from what period an animal lived in off of a column he totally made up and just guessed at. I mean, who's to say that's correct? What if when he found a dinosaur? Well, see, that's the other thing I looked at too. I almost said, what if he found a dinosaur? But I really looked into Charles Lyell, and he rarely ever went anywhere to do geological studies. He wrote the books and everything from his home. He hardly went anywhere. I think there was some, I forgot what they're called. The Basalt Cliff or something. I think it's the Basalt Cliff over in England. He went there one time, and he went only one other place, and then he wrote his books. And yet that's because he went to two places on the entire planet Earth. He went to two places, and he wrote his books, and now that is what you base all your stuff off of. If I only went to two places, and then came to you and said, this proves the Bible, y'all would tell me I'm completely wrong, and you would be right to do so, because I have nothing but two places to back me up. But yet, you're saying he's completely right, because it matches what you want to believe. So that's why they're saying, everything I looked up, with the geologic column and so on, that's why creationists say, don't trust it, because he totally made everything up with it. And, no, I'm not going to say the quote, because that's quote mining. I don't want to do that. I was going to say the quote that I've looked up, which has been proven with him, and I'm not going to do it, because I don't like doing quotes. Okay. All non-historical dating methods are unreliable. And I'll do, like I said, more on this in the next video. But they are unreliable, because here's the problem. If you date anything that has a known date, like let's say you have a lava flow you want to date with multiple dating methods, and you know the date to be only 150 years old. Exactly 150 years old. So you go to date it. You'll get thousands of years, you'll get millions of years, and I think one time they dated one that was 180 years or 200 years old, and they actually got one well up there. I think it was over 100 some odd million years old, according to their multiple dating methods that cross check each other. They don't cross check each other. They prove each other wrong because they can't figure out which date to use. Okay. Whenever confronted with the facts disproving the possibility of evolutionary processes, they reply, and I have heard these multiple times by talking to different people, and these are the ones I've heard. Given enough time, it can occur. In other words, give it long enough and far away enough, it will happen. Or, it takes a long time to occur, that's why we don't see it today. So, in other words, they're still hoping that with millions of years, they'll have their proofs of evolution and so on. And the problem is, it's like I told somebody, so if you give it long enough, we'll finally have proof for it. Is exactly what he told me. And I said, okay, let's go by your calendar. According to your calendar, when it comes to processes of the universe and biology and so on, you've had almost 18 billion years or more to have this proof. Where is it? If you don't have it after 18 billion years, you're not going to have it another 2 million years. You've had long enough. Where's the proof? And there's none. It's all speculation. It's all assumption. It's all own personal interpretation of everything that is actual factual science. Okay, so to sum up this brief premise for what we're going to be getting into in depth next time, long ages do not prove evolution. Long ages cannot produce evolution. And as I said, we're going to first hit dating methods, and then we'll hit some other stuff like the fossils and so on. But we're going to hit, as you're seeing in these videos, we're hitting each one individually as we keep going. Because you'll have some that they want to produce a video, and they try to cover everything in one video. And it leaves a bunch of, well, what about this? What about this? What about... So what I'm trying to do as I go through different books and so on, I'm trying to get all my notes together. Like I said, I'll write my notes down in the notebook and make an outline for the best notes for either side and go over those. And then I present the video. But what I'm wanting to do, like I said in these videos, I'm wanting to hit. You can tell I'm from the South. Hit each point and give it its own video each and every time. I don't want to sit there and do, okay, well, here's the introduction, here's what I think, here's what they think, here's the disproof, bye. And try to crunch everything into 1 hour videos. Like seminar videos and so on, which is basically what they do. They say they're covering like the age of the Earth, and they'll spend one video on it for an hour and a half, but in that total hour and a half, which is why I posted those seminar videos so you could see what I was talking about when it comes to the creation side and so on, but also so you can see when I refer to how they put stuff together, how they try to cram so much into that one seminar, and then they have to crunch it for time. I've actually gone to meet Kent Hovind, so please don't think I'm picking on him. I've actually gone to meet him. He's a great guy. First thing he did was he offered to take me out to lunch, and I mean, he's a really nice guy. If you get to go meet him, he'll talk to anybody, atheist, Christian, doesn't matter. But he'll talk to you and just be polite, no swearing or anything. But yeah, great guy. So he and I went and talked, and one of the things in his videos is, like I said, I like him. He's got a lot of information he can give people in his seminars and personally if you talk to him. But one of the things I noticed, and it's unfortunate, but let's take one of the first ones, and you can see it in the videos earlier posted. He has one called Age of the Earth. Well, I sat there and I was like, okay, where's your Age of the Earth stuff? I think, if I remember, it was almost 2 hours for that seminar. And the last hour, maybe hour and 15 minutes or so, is when he started touching on stuff for proof of the age of the Earth. But you don't really see him, you don't really notice that he's transitioning yet. It's just him going on, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute. He started talking about stuff that proves the age of the Earth is young versus old several slides ago. And like I said, it's not really picking on him or anything. It's just, if you're going to talk about the age of the Earth and stuff that disproves it versus what they're trying to say proves it, that's all your seminar needs to be about. Don't add a whole bunch of stuff at the beginning of it. So that's why with my videos, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just go step by step. I'll do brief introductory videos like this one, saying, okay, here's an overview about time, and then we're going to go into dating methods and hit every single one of them. And that will probably be a long video. I might have to split it into 2 parts, but it's going to be nothing but on dating methods. And then we'll keep going and going, and we'll probably have a bunch of videos posted by the end of it. But anyway, so um, hopefully y'all are enjoying these videos. You're getting some information out of them. They're strengthening your faith in the Word of God and your faith in Christ. And just hope y'all are having great and blessed days. No matter if you're a believer or non-believer, may you still be blessed. May you always be blessed, and may you have trouble-free lives. But oh, and with this video, I do want to bring it up with another tragedy that happened in Orlando. That makes 3 in a row in less than 7 days. And for those of you who don't know, when I'm talking about 3, is the first one you had the singer, I forgot her name, I had to look it back up, that was shot and killed by, they're saying, a crazed fan when she was signing autographs on stage. Then you had, of course, the terrorist attack. And then you had the 2-year-old boy who was unfortunately was killed by the alligator down at Disney World. And my friends and I, we were talking about it, and I was just like, I just don't know what's going on in Orlando. But for 3 tragedies back to back in less than 7 days, it seems like something bad has got a hold on that area for right now. But just best thing you do is just keep the people of Orlando in your prayers, and the rest of the nation in your prayers too, because I honestly believe something is coming out of this election. You have so many people posting videos that if Hillary gets it, that proves prophecy. If Trump gets it, that proves prophecy, and all that mess. And I'm not going into the prophetic stuff. At least not yet. I'll probably do a little bit of that with the apologetics, but I'm not really going to go into being a preachy, trying to be a prophet online and all that mess. There's enough people out there doing that. But yeah, so just keep the people of Orlando and the rest of the nation in your prayers as we go through these trying times, and just continue to take all your troubles to Christ, and just tell him, and you can speak honest with God. We went over this in my Bible study. Let me cover this and I'll end the video. We talked about in the Bible where you had this woman, she was barren, so she went to pray and she poured her whole heart out to God, and she was crying, but she was praying so hard that her mouth was moving, but nothing was coming out of her mouth, so much so that the priest thought she was drunk. And we were talking about, is it okay to pour out your problems to God? Can you get mad at God? Can you? And the guy said, yes, we're human. We're going to get mad at God because something didn't go our way, and we will pour it out. He said, no, as long as you don't do it disrespectfully, you can be mad when you talk about it. Which kind of shocked me, because you do have a lot of people say, no, you're not allowed to get mad at God. I'm like, I'm human. I'm going to get mad at anybody that I feel like I've been mistreated. So to hear him say, yes, it's going to be normal to get mad at God, but go to him in prayer and say, God, explain this to me, why you won't do this, or why you didn't do it this way, or whatever. And more often times than not, you'll probably get an answer. It might not be the answer you want to hear. But, for example, you take in the book of Job, taking the book of Job, where he had all this stuff happen to him from Satan, not God, by the way, Satan, which it was done on a challenge, but God allowed Satan to do it without stopping him. But a lot of people say, see, God did this to Job. No, Satan did all that to Job. God just said, I won't interfere. And it was basically where Satan said, if I do all this, Job will eventually just, cave, and he won't love you anymore. But at the end of it, fine. And if you notice, God was right about Job. What changed Job's mind was his friends. It wasn't everything that happened. It was his friends. He lost his family. He lost his cattle. He lost his resources, lost his wealth. He lost everything. And until his friends started telling him a bunch of mess, that he finally just caved into them and got mad, he still loved God. He never asked, of God, why are you letting this happen? Nothing. He just accepted it. And finally his friends got to him. He went off, and then God came to him. And, okay, if God ever came to me like this, although it wouldn't work because he's, an omniscient God and he knows everything, I would try to play dead. But when God came to him, he finally said, enough, I'm going to ask you questions. Or, no, excuse me, it was before the question part. He said, prepare yourself like a man, because I'm going to ask you questions and you will answer me. And that showed that God was frustrated with Job. It wasn't that God was mad with Job because Job got mad finally. He was mad that the counsel of his friends who were basically just making crap up to get him to turn against God, that's who he went with. That's what made God mad. So, like I said, I got off on another tangent. I'm sorry. But anyway, okay, I'm going to end that video there. Like I said, just continue to pray for the people of Orlando as they've gone through so much in the past 7 days, and continue to pray for our nation, depending on which way it goes with this election. Hopefully it'll be the right way or God's way. And, well, I don't know why I say that, because it's God's plan anyway. But I will see y'all guys next time, and next time we will cover in a video in depth the dating methods and their assumptions and fallacies. So I'll see you all then, and until then, God bless. May you have a blessed life and be safe. I'll talk to y'all later.